We got to break Sariba up. Sariba is a cartel.
We have to own our grid because we paid for it. You had it too long. That's number one. We need to control the purchasing of fuel because we pay for it. We should be in charge of buying it. The fuel companies, you better buckle up too. Jackson Point pipeline have to be reverted back to the ownership of the country. Oh, Mario, you can't tell them how to operate their business. Well, yes, we can. Having this idea that you're going to impose what's best because of what the law tells you can do will cause an uprising in this country that you've never seen before. My children are going to be saddled with the debt of a billionaire so that he can have his name printed on everything we got around here. Because, let me tell you something, this is Dart Island. Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Word of Mouth. Today is Friday, the 14th of April. First show for the week. We didn't do one on Monday, obviously. It was Easter Monday, and we had the JAC, Jet Around Cayman event, which went off fantastic. We had 22 riders. We have a brand new record. So Mr. Jordan McLean, better known as JJ, set the new Cayman record. I think it'll be up for quite some time, considering that the conditions and the weather and everything was so ideal on Monday. It was probably one of the calmest days I've seen in Cayman in my lifetime. Now, I've seen a lot of calm days, but I'm talking about island-wide, right around the entire island was flat, calm. And he set a new record, 51 minutes and 11 seconds. I mean, that is quite amazing. So we're gonna label him now as Mr. 51, and he's the person that everybody know gonna be motivated and gunning for that record in the upcoming season and the 2024 Jet Around Cayman, which we're gonna have our event, which we did last year and Easter weekend and Easter weekend this year. Normally, Jet Around was held in June in the past, but since it's been bought out and we've redone it, we're gonna have it on the Easter weekend. If you're old enough and you were familiar or you remember the days on Easter Monday when they had the boat racing competitions down at 7 Mile Beach, well, it's when I was a kid. I remember that was a highlight of Easter. And now we're bringing back Jet Around, and then later on in the year, hopefully we bring back a poker run to Cayman with the big power boats. So one thing at a time. So I just want to cover a few things that happened over the Easter weekend. I want to cover a few things that happened during the week. We've seen now where there are a few developing issues with the Carifta, which is unfortunate because I would venture to say that this Carifta season is probably one of the most impressive the Cayman Islands has done in the Carifta. I mean, we're talking about gold medals after gold medals. I mean, and then we have this situation where one of our athletes was obviously embarrassed by some issues that was happening beyond her reach. So anyway, at the end of the day, we got to try to do our best to get through these things and put them behind us. And just want to just send a big shout out to all of the athletes that participated in Carifta. Congratulations to all of those who won the medals. Congratulations to all those who made it to Carifta. And certainly, Lacey, we just want to keep your head up. This is just a small hurdle in the road, even though it feels like it's the biggest thing in your life. But understand that, this too shall pass and you get past this. Excuse me this morning because I'm a little stuffy from my sinus, so I sound a little weird and I even, just it's not normal, but I'm going to just push through anyway. I was trying to get the screen up on my thing, but anyway. What I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about, obviously, the weekend, things that happened. I know that there were a few conversations on social media. And when I say social media, more specifically Facebook, where a person posted something. I won't call any names because I don't get into that. But the person that posted something on Facebook in regards to the Jet Around Cayman launch party on Saturday night was excuse me, was quite disappointing because when I read the post, I got this feeling like as if it was their island, like they were the only Caymanian that lived in Cayman and lived in that area. And then you had a lot of other people who commented, a hundred and something people commented from it and or commented it on it, right? And I was reading the comments. Now, the funny thing is that if that person, excuse me, please forgive me for my for my my sinus bothering me this morning. The person that posted this um this post on Facebook, she called the people who were in Georgetown that blocked Seafarers Drive to have the launch party. She didn't know who it was, right? Had no clue who it was, but decided to make all sorts of um, accusations and name calling, calling it an abomination, and that we didn't have no morals and all these things. And I was so taken back by it. I had to comment on her page. In fact, I messaged her directly, telling her how disappointed I was in her comments. It's okay if that was her point of view, and it's okay if that was her opinion, but why you felt the need to post it publicly on Facebook so that you can get people to back up what you thought. And all of those people that posted on it, and you all know who you are, and you all know what I'm referring to, and you all know the names for those people who are guilty. The reality is that we had a launch party on Seafarers Drive, right? It was raining that day, so it didn't have really good attendance simply because everybody thought the show had got the party had got canceled due to the rain and the weather during the day. But because I had committed and we made a commitment, we went through with it. Now, what I don't understand is the person mentioned that, oh, we having the street closed in between two of the oldest churches in Cayman. What I don't understand is that right next to both of those churches in which she was referring to have bars. Margaritaville and Guy Harvey's are right next to these churches, right? But I never once heard this person made an issue about that. Never once I've seen this person go there and protest about that. And mind you all know who this person is. She's a very famous person. In fact, I was a party to making her famous in regards to that. But the reality is what's disappointing to me is that she took and put a post on Facebook calling the people and the persons who were a part of that organization an abomination. That we were an abomination. Now, need I remind you that that said road every year is closed down for street dance, not only for Pirates Week, but for multiple other occasions. They have fireworks in Georgetown because, according to her post, it was a disrespect to the churches and it was a disrespect to her because she sat on her back porch and had to listen to music that she didn't like. Now, granted, she said that it was disgusting music because that was her opinion of the music. Why? We should have went down there and took a note of the music that everybody listened to and then played what they wanted. I'm not sure if that's what we should have done. But it was just very disappointing that coming from a person like her. And I just posted, I said, well, if you want to control what happens on an island, I suggest you go buy your own island and make your own rules. Because if one can close a road to have a Pirates Week party, which I support, if you can close the road to have all these other events, which I supported, it's our road, it's our island. If we can't use it for the things that we support and the things we want to do, then what's the sense of even being here? You know, what's really funny about that is that I've seen all of the comments from people who didn't even know what was going on in Georgetown, but made these outrageous comments. And boy, this goes to show you how much sheep we got in Cayman. All we got is sheep. No leaders, just sheep. And you know when it get bad when you got a sheep leading a herd of sheeps, because that's what she is, a sheep. and decided to lead the rest of these sheeps looking popularity for her comments. Your comments was unfounded. They were very slanderous, and they were 100% wrong. Because I can tell you there was people that at that party that don't smoke, don't drink, that were just there purely to support the event. But yet she had the audacity to call everybody who was there an abomination. And I find it very, very, very hypocritical coming from that person. Believe me when I tell you. Because if that person was God fearing and followed the Bible, their lifestyle would have been a lot different than what it is today. But apparently, the convenience of living by the Bible is only to their convenience, not ours. So if you ever want to know what an abomination is, but anyway, moving on from that, I just think that it was very disappointing and it was very distasteful, and she should be ashamed of herself. And everybody who commented on it without knowing the facts should be also ashamed of themselves, right? That was an event to support our young people, and it did. We had the race on Easter Monday, and it was fantastic. But I didn't see them put a post saying "Wonderful race, congratulations, JJ." I never seen them congratulations to all the Caymanians who beat international riders. I never once, I never once heard them congratulate them for that. It's the hypocritical society that we have that we gotta live with. It's unfortunate, but that's how it is sometimes, I assume. Especially when you got people that pretend to be patriotic when really and truly it's just all for show. But I was looking at some of the headlines and the things that are coming out, and I wanted to just retouch on the regen project and the landfill and the east-west arterial road. Obviously, the high cost of utilities in the Cayman Islands, and I wanted to also just give a overview on what is currently happening in regards to trying to mitigate some of these things, right? But the reality is that until we actually do what is needed, we're never ever going to see any real fruition of anything. I mean, when we talk about the regen project, people don't really understand the magnitude of what that project is about to hit Cayman with. Don't get me wrong, there's not one single person in Cayman that would disagree with a solution for the Cayman Islands landfill. No one would disagree with that because we need a solution for the landfill. Those are the facts. Now, do we need a sustainable solution? Absolutely. Do we need the right solution? Absolutely. Do we need one that's cost effective? Absolutely. These are the things that we need to be looking at from a government. And I'm sick of the government using our resources to do what they feel is in the best interest of us without even consulting us, especially when it comes to these sort of these sort of projects. I spoke about this last week. We don't need public consultation to put in an anti-bullying law. We don't need public consultation to put in a sexual harassment law. We don't need public consultation for those things, right? Those are things that are supported by everyone. So you don't need to come into my neighborhood to tell me that you're putting an anti-bullying law in place when it should already been in place. We don't need public consultation for recycling law. Why? We just need to recycle. Excuse me. It makes perfect sense. Actually, it makes too much sense. But yet, we got our premier, Mr. Wayne Pannon, who's supposed to be the biggest conservationist in the world because he passed a conservation bill, right? But yet, how come you not pass a recycling law? How come you not pass the anti-bullying law? How come you not pass the sexual harassment law? What, you need to work on it? What you need to work on? It ain't nothing to work on. These are laws that are needed. You've been talking about it for a long time. Let's get it done. You have the public support. Let's just get it done. Let's move on to things that are going to be more impactful generations to come. Let's have a conversation about that called the DART Consortium, the Regen Project. Let's have a conversation about that. Because let me tell you something. You want to talk about a springboard because the numbers have definitely been exercising its ability on a springboard because it didn't go down, it went up. And for the ex-deputy premier and the ex-minister of finance saying clearly that he saw the numbers. He didn't say, I heard about the numbers. He didn't say, I was looking for the numbers. He didn't say that something gave him the impression of the numbers. No, he said, I've seen the numbers. Hence the reason why I questioned. Hence the reason why they wanted to put it back out to tender. Now, I'll paint a small picture for you guys. In fact, maybe it's a big picture, but I'll call it a small picture for right now. When Wayne Pannon took over as premier of the country, two things he did immediately, right? One, he took the ISM, which is the dump project and the whole consortium thing, he took that from Sabrina Turner. It was in her ministry. He took that from her. Then the second thing he done, he brought back Jennifer Ahern, the person who was fired by the PPM government for the very same project in which she failed at negotiating a proper deal for. He brought her back, had her in a holding queue, put her in charge of the negotiations immediately, right? It gets better. Then later on in the year, they bring back Juliana, or well, not bring back, bring over Juliana and John Seymour. Now, here's the kicker. The irony in this picture that I'm painting is that John Seymour was the minister in charge of the ISM project prior to that election in 2021. Remember this now. John Seymour, who is now brought back over by the PAC government, or let in by the PAC government, however you want to phrase it, was the very same person that fired Jennifer Ahern. Now, one would imagine when she heard that John was coming back over, she might have been shaking in her boots, but then again, maybe she wasn't because she was appointed by now the premier. Then after that, we saw where Chris Saunders and a couple other ministers were having a lot of questions about the inflated cost of the ISM Regen DART consortium, call it whatever you want, project. And there was a lot of indication that they may need to go back out to tender because the numbers has changed so drastically. But of course now, we've seen now where then the deputy premier was removed or forced to remove or resign, whatever. And guess who got his ministries? Guess who got the Ministry of Finance? Oh, surprisingly, Wayne Pannon. Now, I don't know if you're all familiar with the game of chess, but I can tell you one thing. That might be the only thing, but in the absence of the people watching, he might have gotten away with it, but it ain't gonna happen. So think about this, ladies and gentlemen. Wayne Pannon, the conservationist, right? Didn't agree with us at word of mouth when we were talking to him, telling him that the vaccine don't work and that it was criminal to go and put a law in place that forced work permit holders to get a vaccination that didn't work, right? Force work permit holders to get a vaccination before you can be employed in the Cayman Islands. We protested it. We went to the LA, we went to the streets. We protested it. He didn't even have the decency to come out to address the protesters. Why? Because he's a narcissist. He's one of those people who think he's above you. First of all, this is the sort of leadership that we have in the Cayman Islands, right? Now, I only said that about the vaccine to illustrate his inability to understand what's at stake here and the importance of the people. So now that he's taken over this whole thing and brought back in Jennifer and doing all these things, this DART consortium regen project is at about $1.9 billion. So you can call it $2 billion. You know why? Because government dollar only worth 25 cents. I can tell you that. So if Mr. Panton thinks that this country gonna lay down and play dead while he go out there and try to force a project on us that he have clearly no idea about. Now he got his little mouthpieces around the media houses talking pure foolishness. Right? Pure foolishness. And let me just remind the Cayman public that his major bully in the media is in court this morning. Yeah, yeah, in court this morning for blackmail. But that's his people. Yeah, but he maybe that's why he can't pass the anti-bullying law. But we must understand what's at stake here, ladies and gentlemen. Your children and your children's future is at stake here when it comes to projects like the Regen project and the DART consortium. $2 billion, right, is a whole lot of money. So you see that surplus that they just get through gracefully telling everybody how the government have $1 billion in revenue and got this surplus. Listen, anybody can have money if you don't pay your bills. Anybody could have money if you don't pay your bills. But you see, the minute you pay your bills, that's when reality sets in. So this surplus that the government got, right? How are they gonna spend that money? What are they gonna do? They're gonna give it to institutions. They're gonna give it to government arms. What are they gonna do? They're gonna loan money to people. Who? But I can assure you all of one thing. Mario Rankin not sitting down and playing dead while the future of my grandchildren and my children is at stake. I'm not doing it. It's okay if I was if this place would have ended after me, then I wouldn't have a problem because I live my life. But that's not what it's about. This is about the future generations. Your children, children. My children, their children, children. That's what it's about. And because we always under the notion that, oh, because Dart is a billionaire and Dart is this and he can afford this and he can afford, and you all realize what's taking place. The government have a revitalization campaign to revitalize Georgetown because Dart systematically killed Georgetown. Dart killed Georgetown. Facts. He built Commander Bay, where all the banks and the institutions, Ernest and Young, KPMG, well, not KPMG, my apologies, Intertrust, Scotia, Butterfield, Foster's, CNB, everything is down at Commander Bay. So if anybody responsible for killing Georgetown, it's Dart. Yeah. And then he turned around and convinced our government that building a road from Indus Suite to Bada Banu were to benefit us when they go through all his land for his development. So let us look at the track record because I want to address Jackie Doak's comment at the chamber. And I'm not ever letting that rest because the audacity of a person who is in the driver's seat of the investments for that institution to say something so disrespectful. Because you know why she said it? She said it because she thought that we were too dumb to understand what she was saying. She said it because she thought we were too desperate to accept anything they threw out the back door as some sort of offerings for us. Well, we employ Caymanians, well, that at least you should do. But the fact that she said, we here at DART, she didn't say me. She said, we here at DART is wondering who are we investing in? Because the Caymanian people keep asking, who are we investing for? Quote unquote. That's what the woman said. But you can tell the whole world, I was listening and I was paying attention. And she didn't trick me for 1 second. No, 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 no. I addressed her back then, and I'm going to address the situation now. Right? Let's look at the track record. Let's look at it. The 4 Cayman Alliance deal should be renamed the 4 DART organization deal because the highway that he built, he paid for, benefits him and all his properties. From Bada Banu all the way down to the Cayman Islands landfill belong to DART, with a few exceptions of Governor's Harbor and the other little subdivisions that have been there forever. Snug Harbor in those places. But on both sides of the road, go and look and see who owned the land. So he didn't build no road for us. He built a road for himself that we were allowed to use. Facts. So don't get it twisted. So now they turn their sights on the dump only because the dump plays an intricate role in the sustainability of his development. All of his development is in and around the landfill, right? So it's in his best interest to fix the landfill. It's in our best interest to fix the landfill too. But do we hastily rush down this road to get a deal because he got the money to do it and we don't get a good deal for the people? Ladies and gentlemen, to put a waste to energy plant in the Cayman Islands landfill without a recycling law is oxymoronic and stupid. Matter of fact, it's so stupid that one would have to ask the question, why are we putting a waste to energy plant in the landfill anyway? When there are so many different methodologies that can deal with the intake of garbage in the Cayman Islands that is far more environmentally friendly and far less expensive. But we're not taking that route simply because we have relied on the ability of an organization to pay for something, and we hinging and we hedging our bets on that. Oh, well, he can afford it. There's some people that right here in Cayman that could buy DART 10 times over, but they don't make noise. They're not trying to build a city to kill a city. Because the man built Camana Bay to kill Georgetown, you know. Yeah, to decentralize Georgetown, to regentrify Georgetown. Sorry, that may have came out wrong. To reduce the value of everything in Georgetown and then go in and gobble up all the lands and all the real estate. Yeah, that's what that was about. But it kind of sort of backfired because now the government took the position we want to revitalize Georgetown. So we decided to close a road and pave it and put some palm trees and some street lamps. Dumbest idea I ever heard in my life. I don't know how that revitalized anything. All right? And now you got some little boutique hotels going up. You got other little things happening in Georgetown. Georgetown about to come full swing. And when we remove that cargo port out of Georgetown, checkmate. Yeah. But the reality is that we can't allow our children to be saddled with the debt that is about to take place at the Cayman Islands landfill called the DART Consortium, the Regen Project. And let me make this abundantly clear. I have nothing against anyone who does development. I have nothing against DART, but I have a lot against the way they do business. So when you think that they buying up this and they're doing that because they have something good at heart, no. They buy land for land mitigation. They buy up all these strategic properties knowing we're gonna want it back, and they use it as a bargaining chip to get things that is traditionally controversial. So that's what they do. Excuse me. Starfish Point, case in point. Smith Macadair, case in point. Kim and Brack and all these other places that they bought. Facts, ladies and gentlemen. Their gig is up. I know one thing for sure. If I was sitting at the negotiation table with DART and the DART Consortium and the Regen, that deal would look a whole lot different. Because under no circumstances would I ever give up full autonomy of controlling and running all of the solutions in the landfill. Never in the brightest, sunniest day would I have ever done that. But because we have self-serving politicians who are easily convinced that everything other than their idea is better than their idea. And if you look at the relationships of some of the PPM government that brokered the whole DART Consortium deal, when you look into the relationships, when you look deeper, peel back those layers of onion, and you see the relationship of people within that organization with the people on the outside organization who seemingly getting all the work and doing all the projects and doing all the things. I mean, come on. Come on. Who controls all the janitorial work down at Camana Bay? Who? You don't know? Say a name and I'll whistle. But you know what's funny is that nobody seemed to care about that. I don't care that they get work. I care that there's a conflict and that maybe the best solution and the best methodology may not be looked at by this person because they're slight bit conflicted. So when you look at who got all the janitorial work and you look at who the minister was and you look at who doing all of the ads and I support the Regen project. Well, you would have to support the Regen project. Oh yeah. So go down and look and see The next time you take a little walk through, because most of us can only afford to walk through Commander Bay, because we can't afford to live, work, or play there. That was the slogan, that Commander Bay started with. Yeah, work, live, and play at Commander Bay. That was the slogan. I see a lot of posts on Facebook and social media with a lot of local people walking through there with a little ice cream or walking through with their family. It's a beautiful place to go. It's a very well built place. Nobody can ever take them away from that. But what I'm saying to you is when you go down there, the next time you walk through that place, look at who the janitorial people are. Look and see what name on the shirts. Oh, they diversified it very, 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 very small, just so they can say that we diversified and gave some other people some work. But you go look at the majority of the people who handle all the janitorial cleaning and services down at Commander Bay. Go look at the name on the shirt. And then when you look at the name on the shirt, then go back and look at the ministers who were in charge of brokering the DART consortium deal. Then do some further digging and research, and you'll see some video ads of the same person talking like the Regen Project is like the second coming of Christ. Yeah, facts. Right? The same thing with the East-West Arterial Road, which we'll touch on in a minute, and the concoction of the beneficiaries of that. You hold on, we get into that in a minute. But we're gonna deal with the Regen first, because they're not shoving this $2 billion debt down my children's throat. I can tell the world that. That's not happening. You can carry that to the bank. So Mr. Panton and his narcissistic attitude that he better and smarter and then think everybody else dumb compared to him. Well, a little reality check for the Cayman Islands. You're not saddling us with no $2 billion debt where we paying the DART organization no tipping fees. You imagine the government, because let me tell you something, government / equal people. So when the government signs a contract to say, oh, we'll pay you X amount of dollars per ton for processing and burning garbage, not gonna happen on Mario Watch. No. We need to put proper recycling centers in that landfill. We need to put proper recycling laws in place. We need to put proper enforcements of said laws in place. We need to implement the right thing on this small island. 72,000 people, and you telling me we can't recycle? We're gonna put a waste to energy plant on a landfill surrounded by 72,000 people? Who in the world came up with this idea? Mass burn? Oh, and by the way, we're gonna take the ash and put it into what? Fertilizer and asphalt? For whose benefit? I know it's not mine. But at the end of the day, we have to make sure that we take a very, very forensic look at this thing. And the reason why I say that is because at one point, DART would have fixed that dump for free. I don't know how we got to a point where we got to pay him $1 billion. Or it's gonna cost us $1.9 billion. I don't know how we got to that point. Because the scientific proof is there. The dump is a parasite for everybody in and out of the Georgetown area in that close proximity. Not to mention him, because he got the biggest development or the only development in and around the dump. So ladies and gentlemen, let us understand what's at stake here. In order for this Regen project to be economically feasible, they have to generate, or we have to generate X amount of tons of garbage per day for that plant to run. Facts. And they're going to be collecting anywhere between $150 to $180 to $200 a ton. Somewhere around there. When I went to that last Regen road show down at the Hartwell Theater, I was there that day, that night, and I watched the show. I went to a couple other ones too to make sure they were consistent, and they were. So if you're telling me that they're going to get a fixed cost that may fluctuate depending on the terms of the negotiations in which we put in place, we're going to settle for paying this company to burn garbage when we could have easily put recycling laws in place that would have taken care of a large percentage of that garbage. And we could have put a compost system in that landfill that would have also been able to generate methane, which we're already doing. That we got methane wells up there right now. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, methane is a very, very, very sellable commodity. It generates energy. So the waste energy plant, because understand the term waste to energy. Where the energy going? The energy that they're getting from the waste, where it going? It goes to the CUC grid, or should I say the Cayman Islands grid, because it should be ours. It goes to the grid. So there has to be a negotiation between the DART consortium, Regen, whatever, and the utility company. Why it has to be a conversation? Because CUC have the exclusive right for distribution. Anybody can generate, but you just can't distribute without going through CUC. So they're gonna generate because they'll sell you this story. Oh well, we're gonna sell we're gonna give the energy to CUC and they'll reduce your light bill. That is the biggest bunch of BS I ever heard in my entire life. Because right now, all of the solar panels on this island that is on the grid, go look on your bill. It's called a renewable energy surcharge. We paying for it. They ain't helping us. We paying. So when this regen waste energy project go to the grid, CUC gonna buy it for them at a reduced cost and sell it to us at a markup. So we gonna pay for it. Imagine we gonna be paying for energy that our landfill is generating. Can you imagine? We're gonna let them put a waste to energy plant, burn our garbage, charge us for the garbage they're burning, and then turn around and sell it to CUC, profit from it, and then CUC turn around and sell it to us. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to what I am saying. The waste to energy plant, listen to me, is going to require anywhere between 12 to 15,000 tons of garbage per day to operate. Facts. Then the government will be getting an invoice on the amount of garbage that they've burnt daily. Last time I looked at the last time I went to the road show down at Hartwell, it was about $150, $165 per ton. You get your calculators out right now. Times 15,000 tons by $165. You'll see how much money we'll be paying them. And that's the money that they'll be collecting off of us, not the government, because the government don't exist without us. So they'll be collecting that from us. Then they're going to turn around, take the energy that our garbage that we paying them to burn. Listen now, this is just as bad as a CUC deal. So we're going to pay them to put a plant in. We're going to pay them to burn our garbage. Then they're going to turn around and sell the energy to CUC. And then we're going to turn around and buy the energy back from CUC. Who sat down across the table from the government side and thought that this was a good deal? And thought that this was in the best interest of the people of the Cayman Islands? Oh, the one caveat in that whole thing was, and I think that was the little piece of bacon that they were dangling in front of the eyes of the dumb politicians who sat across the table, and every single politician who agreed to that is a dummy. I can tell you that straight up. They are donkeys. Because if you telling me that you sat across the table and listened to that layout and you say, oh, that's a great thing, but the caveat they used, the thing that they were dangling was, oh, well, you guys have a beautiful landfill. We're going to put parks in there and walkways and ride bicycle paths. That's what Dar told them. Yeah, we're going to turn it green. Yeah. But I tell you all this, that's a pile of foolishness. Oh, you can grow grass and grass grow on anything. And I tell you that they can't turn it green, And I tell you that they won't put bicycle tracks and I tell you that they won't do that. They can do that. But what I can tell you is this: we're gonna be paying for it. Oh yeah, top dollar. Top dollar. So the DART consortium / Regen is about to saddle us with a $1.9 billion bill, right? They're gonna put a waste energy plant in there. They're gonna charge us for burning the garbage. Then they're gonna sell the current back to CUC, and then CUC gonna charge us to buy it back from them. Am I the only person paying attention to this thing? This is why I am bringing it to the forefront of what's taking place. This is why I am having this conversation. This is why it's important that we pay attention to what's happening. So under no circumstances the government sign off that final agreement with no DART consortium or no regen project. We need to rewind and come again. That project need to go back out to tender so we can get better value for money. We can get more sustainable methodologies suggested and a better proper RAN system. And while it's out to retender, Mr. Panton, I suggest you get down there with your corral your horses and get down to the LA, have a caucus meeting, and pass a recycling law, pass the anti-bullying law, pass the sexual harassment law. Go ahead. We give you permission to do that. Now, I hear you're not running in the next election, but that would be a wise move because you can't get elected in Newlands ever again. I can tell you that. I already said it already. You're not ever getting elected in this country ever again. You are the worst politician. You the Joe Biden of the Cayman Islands. Remember, I tell you that. The worst. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you know what's funny, ladies and gentlemen? And I think it's an insult too. He figured that making Miss Julie deputy premier was his diversification that he talked about in the beginning of his term. We want to diversify the portfolio and put more women. I agree. I don't have no problem with that. But I also agree that we need to put capable women in positions to do the things that need to be done. And no disrespect to nobody. I'm just telling you straight up. How many times you're going to be deputy premier and how many times you're going to be premier, Miss Julie? I just want to know. I'm not going to against you. I love you. But you too not no politician. You're not. You got a law degree, go back to law. So all you lawyers who jumped out on the law firms to come into politics, go back to law or go fishing or go do something. Because it's not working out. Alden, Ween, Miss Julia, and I try to get out of our house. And in our house, taking up our space, running roughshod over our country while our people eating out the garbage and bathing on 7 Mile Beach. This is a ridiculous situation we're in. And I sick of the whole kind talk and the soft-spoken people. Get out of our house. We need good, innovative, out-of-the-box thinkers and doers because we not got no time to waste. Time is too valuable to waste. And nobody don't want to have this kind of conversation because you faced it, you're disrespectful. Oh, Mario, you gotta be. No, no. I got to be who I am all the time. I gotta fight for the people who don't have the energy or the resources to fight. This platform is for us, the people. We say what we need to say here without any fear of somebody pulling the plug and cutting off the lights. No. No. This not rooster. There's no rooster. Let me tell you something. The minute Woody became outspoken, which he always was, and the minute he started not paying attention, they not only hit the eject button, they sold the whole goddamn company. Imagine that. So people don't get blindsided by the foolishness going on in our island, you know. It's clear to see that this whole push towards what we're going to is not for the Caymanian brand. I'm sick of seeing ads all over the social media about come to the Cayman Islands and work. I see people who work in here encouraging the other people to come here. Now, I'm not telling you that there's a crime in that or I'm not telling you that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just simply saying is that we need to better guard our gates. We need to shut down this permanent residence foolishness. We need to shut down these status grants. We got to shut this thing down. We have not properly digested the already tidal wave of cultural differences in our country yet. So why are we going to leave the floodgates open? We got to shut this thing down. We got to shut this thing down. And when I say this thing, I'm talking about that red carpet gala event that we have about PR and status. We're going to shut that down. We need to put a 10, 15, 20, 40-year moratorium on that because Caymanians need to refine themselves first. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I'm tired of it because I telling you right now, my children may not know it, but I think about this constantly every day. Every time I see their face, I say to myself, Where they gonna be in the next 20 years? Where they gonna be in the next 10 years? Because I tell you one thing, Cayman gonna be hard for us to live in. Believe me when I tell you. So yeah, Jackie Doke, let me answer your question. When you say who are we investing in, you're investing in yourself. As I said before many times, Mario Rankin or none of his children or no Cayman name no on none of the development that Dart built. None. We don't own none of it. So you're not investing in us, you're investing in yourself. Facts. And we've allowed you to do so. That's right. Oh, you should be happy that Dart kept the construction going during the recession. He was the only person that, okay. So the people in the 1940s and 50s and 60s and 70s, they all withered up and died because Dart wasn't developing, right? Listen, if one thing I learned about history and about the Caymanian history is that we are the most resilient people on the face of this earth, in my opinion. We can get through just about anything. So if Dart wasn't continuing the construction during the recession, we would have survived. It would have been harder, but we would have survived. And we might have become better because of it too. And I know all of you who made money from it is out there scratching on the heads. What are you talking about? I'm talking about sometimes it's good to get to the bitter bad so that you can embrace everything from there on out, the good. Sometimes you need to be reminded that things can get bitter bad for you to have a firm grip of the reality of life. True. So if we keep thinking that money gonna keep fixing the problem, we that's the wrong thought process. If we keep believing that, oh, this is great simply because we can't afford it, again, that's another grave mistake. The reality is that we paved one road in Georgetown and we called it revitalization. Imagine that. Dart paved an entire city and built multi-story buildings and causeways and bypasses, and he's still not done. But yet we paved one road in Georgetown and we revitalized it. Imagine that. Calling you my friend and like you, really and truly. But please, whatever you do the island a favor. Stop pushing the narrative about planting trees and paving roads in Georgetown and blocking roads, please. Because that's not revitalizing Georgetown. That is finishing the job that Dart already started, putting the nail in the coffin. Facts. I don't want to walk on pavers and see palm trees, which is native to my island, and street lamps that look like we in England in the middle of Georgetown. I don't want to see that. I want to see a vibrant community with people in and out Georgetown like it used to be. We don't see that anymore because they're killing it. We've catered for everything else except ourselves. We've made the Caymanian dream available for everything that is not Caymanian. Imagine that. And we seem to be comfortable with it. And you got Wayne Pannon sitting down on the throne talking about an anti-bullying law, we're talking about a sexual harassment law. Just pass the law, put a recycling law in place. Regen project, Dart Consortium, that whole project need to go back out to tender. It have to go back out to tender. We need a better methodology and we need better value for money. And Dart not the only game in town. We gotta stop telling ourselves that. Because they're not investing in us, they're investing in themselves. How many of you down there living rent free? How many of you down there got your businesses rent free? Go and look. None. Ladies and gentlemen, please understand. This is a very serious situation we're in. Okay? And we need to make sure that we don't let this thing slip away. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let me check the comments right quick and see if there's anybody had anything to say. Go back up to the top. Well, got some new faces on here. When I see the people who are on, what Jonathan Powell, boy, always good to hear what you guys say. That's why we should do with the what? That's what they should do with the money. What they should do, Jonathan? Oh, build a bridge? You come back with this foolishness again about bridge? Why you don't go in your backyard, dig 2 ponds, right? Dig 2 ponds so you hit water, and then build one bridge in between it, then walk across it. Maybe you can get that out of your system. We not building no bridge in no North Sound. Get that out of your head. The revitalization of 100 yards of road was only to revitalize particular pockets. True. Pretending to be fixing one side of our island landfill and disposing garbage on the other. Yeah. Yeah, so we got a landfill and then we got the sister landfill right next to it. You're right. The captain line that side. And did you guys ever notice that is side that facing Commander Bay? I'm just saying. It's pretty obvious, right? Oh, I'm glad Jonathan Eady watching because he was one of the people that posted on that ridiculous post that the person I mentioned in the beginning of the show talking foolishness, right? He was one of them. Yeah, he was one of them that jumped on the bandwagon. And Blake Hurlston was another one, right? He reshared it. Yeah, pretending. Yeah, that was fun. That was comical, actually. Just check in the comments and then I'll get back. Don't worry. They should make more parking spaces. Yeah. If they build a bridge over the north south, they have a secure road and structure for the next 60 years. Jonathan, let me explain something to you, my friend. And only because I know you're really good and I enjoy talking to you. I enjoy talking to your dad too, bless his heart and soul. But let me tell you something. Let me explain something to you. Building a bridge in the North Sound is not a good idea. It's not. It really isn't. Because it's not necessary. There are many things we can do to alleviate traffic that we choose not to do because it doesn't have the political mileage that is attractive to politicians. And that's been the problem in the Cayman Islands where we have weak-minded politicians who have always been dictated by the outside almighty lobby and dollar. Facts. So we could talk about bridges, we can talk about extra roads, we can talk about overpasses, we can talk about tunnels, we can talk about all these things as long as we want. But until we find a group of people who are willing to make a proper assessment of our issues and try to implement proper solutions to deal with them, we're not gonna ever see anything other than just talk and banter and back and forth. So when come election time, I don't know how we're gonna get to that point because I've been trying to encourage young people, younger generations. We see what the youth parliament has produced, which is awesome. I've been trying to encourage young people to get involved with politics so that they can make the necessary changes. People who are untainted with the political system, right? We need to get new innovative thinkers in there. So until we get to that point, we're going to see very little done. And unfortunately, that's a sad reality. And yeah, that's your opinion, Jonathan, that you think it is, but it won't. And it won't fix anything. It will create more issues than anything else. Believe me when I tell you, a bridge in the North Sound is the dumbest idea I ever heard from anybody. Not you, because you're not the only person with it, Jonathan. You're not the first person that said that either. So, and I'm referring to you. I'm referring to the idea. It's a dumb idea. It's a stupid idea. It don't make no sense. It doesn't fix anything in Cayman. And then you talk about putting up toll booths and doing this. It's pure foolishness. Then when you have children running into them in those columns and we runners and killing themselves, then it'd be another issue, right? It's a bad idea, and it would be an unsightly thing in the North Sound. Putting a bridge in the North Sound don't make no sense. Proper planning and infrastructure development, that's what need to be put in place. You know, but we have not yet to have implemented anything to that because why? Because when you put that sort of thing in place, it impacts certain neighborhoods. Certain neighborhood has constituencies. Certain constituencies vote for certain politicians. So it ain't going nowhere. If that small constituency, I'm not doing that. I remember Wayne telling me that he spoke to a family about opening back up Cayman borders. And he decided to keep the borders. They decided that they would keep certain things in place because he spoke to one family. One family he spoke to, and he made a decision for the whole island. That is sort of leadership we got. But this is not a debate about what worked and what don't work. Bridging the North Sound just not ever happening. I can tell you that right now. So you can talk about it all you want. No, and that's your prerogative. That's your right. I don't have an issue with that. But We're not building no bridge in Cayman, North Sound. No. Yeah. How we gonna justify building a bridge in the North Sound, but we would make them build a cruise berthing facility in Georgetown? Tell me how we gonna justify that. Or did you support building a cruise berthing facility in Georgetown, Jonathan? You gotta pick a side here, bro. Anyway, I said that we were gonna talk about some other things, but time has now ran a little bit short for us. But I want to get back to the whole. I just want to reiterate what I was talking about this morning in regards to this situation with the Regen project. It's not far off of the whole CUC deal, where they charge us to build the grid, they charge us to maintain the grid, they charge us to distribute their energy on the grid, they charge us for the energy that they sell us on the grid, and they charge us for the fuel that builds their that runs their energy. We pay for everything. And then we should be quiet because we get a good service. We should be quiet because they hire Caymanians. We should be quiet because they continue to work during the recession. That's the thing that we've been brainwashed with, selling ourselves short simply because we get this small little prize at the end. Nothing sustainable or meaningful, or that lasts long anyway. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, let us just continue to keep our eyes open, our ears to the ground, and understand what's going on in our society and around us. Cayman need a drastic change because there's too many people suffering. There's too many things at stake. There's too many things that we can't control because we've allowed it to get out of control. We have a non-existent of certain systems that made them create themselves. Last night I'm gonna end with this one because last night I had I had the opportunity to speak to a Canadian guy from Saskatchewan, right? I think his name is no, I won't call his name. Anyway, he works in the financial service industry. He has a little firm here, and he was talking to two very young Caymanians that were outside of the place that I was, and I was coming out. The two guys were standing there, and they were standing up next to my car, and they were talking to this man, which I thought, when I think back on him talking to these extremely young Caymanian guys, I mean, when I say young, I mean young, right? They were in the establishment. I saw them in there earlier, and then they came out. I thought they had left, but when I came out, they were standing up next to my car talking to this older guy. In fact, it had just looked weird, to be honest. My intuition told me that didn't look right. But anyway, he claimed he was giving them advice. The two little young guys started talking to me, hey, what you doing, whatever. And I was talking about it, and we were talking about politics. And then we got into the financial service industry, and we're talking. So he started to perk up his ear because he's in that industry. Then he got offended. He got offended when I said that the financial service industry don't contribute nearly enough to our society or to our economy that they should, right? And when I broke it down for him, he may have disagreed. And then he started talking, well, I have a small firm and I have 19 Caymanians who work for me and they all make good salaries and they all got 2 to 3 kids and they got they got families and blah, 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 blah. Selling me this, ripping off this story to me that I should be grateful that he hired 19 Caymanians. Oh, I only got Caymanians in my firm. I said, yeah, for only one problem though. He said, what are they? I say, you don't know Caymanian. Where you from? You from Canada? I say, let me ask you a question. Do you think you could live and work and make the money you make in Cayman, in Canada, doing exactly what you're doing here? Oh, no. I said, but okay then. So, how many of the 19 people, since you claim you're pro Caymanian and you're doing it for Caymanian and you're helping Caymanians, how many of the Caymanians of the 19 that you claim work for you and you got only Caymanians working for you? I say, how many of them making what you make? He hit a roadblock right there. I said, so when I was telling these two young men that all of the financial institutions in Cayman have what I call coal miners, that's just my phrase, that's my terminology, right? So all these big firms have the partners, the senior partners, the junior partners, the equity partners, right? The guys that makes the money, which is fine. They work for it. But below them is the third floor and the second floor, where all the administrators are, the people who actually do the work. The people who actually pump out all of the invoices, the people who create those year-end bonuses. Yeah. I said to him, I said, how many of those people that gives you your bonus at the end of the year making what you make? He couldn't answer that question. He said, no. And I said, well, okay then. So you were part of the problem. I said, if you had told me that in your small firm, which you eloquently told me was small, if you had told me in your small firm that all 19 people that work for you are all equally profit sharing in the profits that that company make, and you all carrying home the same amount. When I say the same amount, meaning if it's 20 employees and you being the head honcho, that mean 19 employees and you being the head honcho, that's 20. So you take all the profits you made in a year and split it 20 ways. That right there would be what you call doing it for the Caymanians, doing it for the brand, taking into consideration that our jurisdiction has allowed you to do what you do. Because without them, you make nothing. Without our jurisdiction, you make nothing. If you lived in Canada, you made nothing other than what you did in Canada. But you told me you couldn't do what you do in Canada, what you do in Cayman. So until we understand our value and our worth, people will always railroad us and take advantage of us. So to that man who may watch my show, I think he does, right? He got highly offended. I told him to get out of my face because you part of the problem. He was trying to convince me, now trying to convince Mario that not treating your employees fairly was a good thing because you employed them to begin with. Oh, but they all make good salaries. Okay, fine, great. I never said anything about that. But how will they be able to generate their own personal family wealth if you are the person carrying home the lion's share? If you are in the best interest of our jurisdiction and our people, and you want everybody to be happy or you want everybody to be equal, then take the company and split it 20 ways. Yeah. Take the company and split it 20 ways and give each one of them a fair shake at what they're working so hard to provide for you. I bet you none of them don't live in Crystal Harbor where he lived. Then he had the audacity to say that, oh, well, I can't afford the kind of car you drive. And I said, no, 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 no. No. He said, I wish I had one of these cars. I said, no. The difference is that you choose not to buy one of these. You could buy 10 of these. That's the problem. You know how I know? You know how I know some of these people who got all the money in the world? They can't enjoy the fruits of their labor because they're so stigmatized by that. They don't want nobody to ask them for nothing. Oh, no, 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 no. They're so mean and selfish. They don't want nobody asking them for nothing. So they're not doing anything to draw no attention to themselves. Trust me on that. Believe that. Jonathan, I will dig 2 ponds in your yard so you can build one bridge and get it out of your system, okay? I'll do it for free. Jonathan, we love you, but yeah, we're not building no bridge. Reading some of the comments again. Jonathan, listen, we're not talking about no bridge today. Come off of that topic. Come off of that. Done with the bridge talk now. Ah, yeah, he should be grateful he's in Ghana. He's in Ghana. I don't know what you're talking about. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna draw it to an end today. Lee, hold on, let me just see this. Poor action, corruption, pack or whatever. I don't know. You come back with. Boy. Jonathan, do me a favor. Flip the page on that comic book you in. Please, just flip it. Get to the next page. For this bridge thing, that not working out. Nobody not building no bridge in Cayman. At least not while I live in. No, you know North Sound anyway. We made Dart build 2 tunnels that we didn't need. Imagine. I guess he just wanted your car to be in the shade for 3.5 seconds. But that was the plan too. And you know the thing that really blows my mind with Dart? Let me tell you what blows my mind. They keep talking about how they're so sustainable and they're so this and they're so that, but yet he owned he owned the largest styrofoam company in the world that produces styrofoam cups, something that can be recycled. And he got a gazebo and a wall and an establishment in our beach on the water, washing up against the wall. Why he don't remove them if he in the best interest of Cape Man? Tear all that down. He can afford it. That would be a drop in the bucket for him to tear that down. Them little walls not cost him nothing. Royal Palm need to move the walls by Coral Beach and the wall in his little gazebo. All I need to move the way so the sand can flow back. So if he were in the best interest of Cape Man, that what he'd be doing. But no, he's not in the best interest of that. He don't care about that. But yet he'll get studies done to see where the sand is and hopper this and that and pretend like you won't. And let's fix the dump. Oh my gosh, we need to fix the dump for the Cayman Islands. This would be the greatest project since sliced bread. You saw the article on the response that they came with in joint connection with the PAC government. And I hear more foolishness in my life. I not hear more foolishness in my entire life. You can't recycle styrofoam, you know. Impossible. So, just saying. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching the show. Thank you for tuning in. And we'll be back on Monday. Don't forget to like and share our page. You can watch us on YouTube if you don't have Facebook. And yeah, get involved in the conversation. Just not the bridge conversation. Because we ain't having no bridge conversation. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. And please stay safe over the weekend. Enjoy your weekend. It's beautiful weather out there. I mean, like, this is the prettiest weather I've seen in a long time. So go out to the beach, go fishing, go enjoy the sun, get outside, you know, turn off that TV, put down those cell phones, go outside, enjoy the outside weather. You all have a good weekend and see you on Monday.
We got to break Sariba up. Sariba is a cartel.
We have to own our grid because we paid for it. You had it too long. That's number one. We need to control the purchasing of fuel because we pay for it. We should be in charge of buying it. The fuel companies, you better buckle up too. Jackson Point pipeline have to be reverted back to the ownership of the country. Oh, Mario, you can't tell them how to operate their business. Well, yes, we can. Having this idea that you're going to impose what's best because of what the law tells you can do will cause an uprising in this country that you've never seen before. My children are going to be saddled with the debt of a billionaire so that he can have his name printed on everything we got around here. Because let me tell you something, this is Dart Island.